the onset of fall, some people enjoy activities like apple picking. One local farm, the Apple Orchard, says this is one of the toughest years yet between the early frost and the flash floods over the summer. As Danielle DeGraw tells us, while there's concern this could affect the price of apples for grocery shoppers, one expert says that may not be the case.
Lucas Catalfomo is the owner of the Apple Orchard in Hamilton. Every year, like clockwork, his family-run farm opens on August 1st. But this year is far from routine. Catalfomo says that this has been one of the toughest years in the past 25 years of farming.
Between rain, heat, erratic changes, frost, crops kind of not knowing what to do. Is it summer, is it fall, is it harvest? It's been absolutely one of the most challenging times.
It's changed how they farm now, says Catalfomo, including new forms of planting to prevent further erosion of the soil from the flash floods earlier this year. With frost, he says, this shocks the trees and affects the yield or how much can be harvested.
Normally what we would see is very even, plentiful apples from the top of the tree all the way down. But with the cold snaps and the drastic weather that we've been having, and as you guys know, cold air sinks, you can see that only the tops of the trees more or less have most of the crop. Over 90% of the crop is up top. But down here, when the apples were all in bloom, they froze.
Catalfomo says this means grocery prices will go up. But a food expert we spoke to today says it's not this simple. He says it's unfortunate farmers are being impacted in the Hamilton area, but it doesn't necessarily mean consumers will be impacted overall.
Grocers will look at prices, and if they see that local apples are too expensive, they'll just basically go somewhere else, because if they carry local apples and they're very expensive, they know they won't be able to move their inventory. They won't be able to actually sell apples at all.
If prices do go up, the people we spoke to today said they might make the trip to local farms more routine rather than a once-a-year event.
We come here once a year and we just load up on apples. That's all we really take home with us are the apples.
The weather has been changing, the seasons are shifting, climate change is a real problem, and I can definitely see how it's affecting farmers' crops and all of the wildlife around us as well.
While this has been the most challenging year for him, Lucas Catalfomo says the only thing he can do is hope and pray the weather will work out in his favor. In the meantime, he and his staff will continue to prepare for the worst and hope for the best, while continuing to welcome those interested in local produce. Danielle DeGraw, CHCH News, Hamilton.